It's time for this week's episode of Brandon Sports Talk, featuring in-depth interviews from those who are trending in the world of athletics. And now, here's the host of Brandon Sports Talk, Brandon Pate.
Welcome back to Brandon Sports Talk. In today's episode, I have the privilege to interview the University of Pikeville's Associate Head Women's Basketball Coach, Coach Shelby Wheeler. How are you doing today?
Fantastic. How are you?
I'm doing good. Can you talk about how you knew that you wanted to get started in coaching in college women's basketball?
Yeah, I kind of always knew. I grew up in that Pat Summit area of college basketball. So my grandma's family's from Tennessee, and so we grew up and Pat Summit was a big thing, and we watched all those games. And just '90s, early 2000s college women's basketball. I think it just got me hooked. I grew up in North Central Ohio, so Ashland University, which is the reigning D2 champions. They grew. I lived 20 minutes from there, so it was really good college basketball. I was around growing up in Ohio, and I just kind of always knew that I wanted to stay in the game, and that was how I wanted to do it.
Of course, what was your playing career like going to Stetson and playing?
Yeah, I actually played at Florida Southern, and so when I transferred to Stetson, I made the switch to coaching. Um, so I played 2 years at Florida Southern, and they're a D2 school in the Sunshine State Conference, and that was an incredible experience. Florida Southern has a special place in my heart. The experience I had there, the coaches I had the privilege to play for, Jared Olson and Holly Borchers. Their current head coach, Meg Zekas, I played with her. She was a senior my freshman year, and uh, we went to the D2 tournament my freshman year and played in a conference championship game that was just amazing at home at Florida Southern. And it was a really, really great experience to college basketball. I was really glad I made that move from Ohio to Florida to do that. My junior year, I transferred to Stetson, and then I kind of got into coaching from there.
Of course, what was that experience like first starting off at Florida Southern and playing at Florida Southern?
Yeah, it was challenging. I think my freshman year, I was the only true freshman on the roster. Um, so they had a couple new players outside of me, but they were all junior college transfers. So they had college basketball experience already, and I was the only one on the roster with zero college basketball experience on a really good team that the year before had won a Sunshine State Conference championship and was projected to be really competitive. So practices were really tough, and the experience, I was really away from home, and it was super challenging, but really, really rewarding.
What was that transition like for you from going from Florida Southern to Stetson?
Yeah, I actually never visited Stetson before I enrolled there. I visited one time the gym because at Florida Southern we played Stetson in an exhibition. So I only saw the Inman Center one time before I transferred. Um, my mom was working at Ashland University, and I was able to go to Stetson tuition free, and so we made that move. And again, my coaches at Florida Southern helped me get in with the basketball staff and the coaches there at Stetson with Lynn Bria and Pam Brown at the time, and those guys really just welcomed me in, giving me a ton of jobs, a ton of work to do. In practices, in the day-to-day operations of the program, and I just kind of jumped into it. Head first and really got involved in it there.
What was that experience like getting to put on two different college basketball jerseys throughout your college playing career?
Yeah, Florida Southern was again really really great experience, and I think I just um, tried to capitalize every opportunity I got to do that, just knowing that my abilities were really limited, and so I was just playing as much as I could, and capitalizing on it until I got to go over and be on the sidelines as a coach and sit on the sidelines and kind of look at things a little different and kind of see the game, see the game and the operations a little different.
As a player, what were some of your biggest playing accomplishments?
Yeah, I think the biggest accomplishments we had were real team stuff, and at Florida Southern, just being able to play in that D2 tournament and getting that kind of experience and exposure. It's a tough tournament, how it lays out, and the Sunshine State Conference tournament as well. Really, really tough conference for D2. And then the teams we played at Stetson, there were some really big, really fun games. Coach Yo, who's at Jacksonville, or who was at Jacksonville, is the Ole Miss coach now and doing great things there. She was coaching in that league, and FGCU obviously is in that league. So there were some really tough battles that were just really fun experiences during my time at Stetson.
Of course, after your playing career, what was it like getting to transfer over and joining the coaching staff and first working as a director of operations?
Yeah, super, super challenging. The ops position there at Stetson was new. They didn't have one before, really. And it was a part-time gig and obviously a lot of work involved. So it was super challenging, but a incredibly rewarding experience. And there was a full staff of assistant coaches that helped me make that transition. The stuff I got to do my junior and senior year as kind of an undergraduate assistant head manager kind of helped me transition to that a little bit smoother. I kind of knew going into it a little bit more, but it was really just throw you in the fire kind of deal. I worked a couple side jobs to stay afloat, right? I worked in a coffee shop and refed games at the YMCA, and so it was a lot of work and it was exhausting, but it was so much fun and such a great and rewarding experience.
How's that transition like from you from going from being a player to then going on to the coaching staff and working with the players that you played with?
Yeah, so I was super intentional. I think the transition for anybody into coaching and is kind of like eye-opening because you don't understand all that goes into running a program and how the day-to-day just operates. There's so much. And so when you're playing, I don't think you don't see all of that. But the going and doing it at the same place was really cool, with a lot of the same assistant coaches and obviously the same head coach. But I was really intentional my junior and senior year as I transferred to Stetson and in knowing that I wanted to get into coaching. I was really I created really good relationships with the players, but also had to set some boundaries in knowing that I wanted to be a part of that staff. And so it was super an interesting experience, I think, but so one I knew I wanted, so I had to be really smart in the choices I made.
What were some of your roles and responsibility as that director of operations?
Yeah, there was kind of a lot there going on, but it's really the day-to-day logistics of the program, setting up for practice, setting up for games, taking care of equipment, setting travel stuff, hotels, flights. The ASIN is a wild conference. Travel at the time, I don't think they do yet either. They didn't have a video coordinator, so we had to do video in the games and uploading that stuff and distributing film and things like that at the time. So it was really the day-to-day, just running, just general operations of the program.
How was your experience like getting to come over to UPikeville and getting to become an assistant coach and getting to coach?
Yeah, so I'm originally from Ohio, so getting to come to Pikeville was putting me a little bit closer to family, and that was super exciting at the time. But it was also that opportunity to get on the floor coaching, and you can't do that, you couldn't do that at the time as a director of ops at Stetson. So it was being able to get that coaching experience that I was looking for when I took the GA position here. And also knowing at the time that I had no NAIA experience, and it's been a really great experience. There's just such competitive basketball, and it's been super rewarding.
What were some of the things that you learned as that GA to then help you to make that jump to become an assistant coach first?
Yeah, so my year one for me was a little crazy. I think a little bit different. I started as a GA in that first season, and by the end of that season, I had been a part-time assistant, and then I was a full-time assistant at the end of year one. Just some coaching changes and staff changes that had happened. So it was a little bit wild, a little bit unconventional first year, I think. And again, I think just like it was when I was doing the ops directing, it was kind of just being thrown into the fire and trial by fire and just jumping in there and just learning things on the fly. So yeah, it was a wild first year, but I think we were able to take some of the things. Coach Williams came in that same year as well, and he was a video coordinator, and so we were able to kind of mesh having the experience of video and the experience of just ops, and then our basketball experiences meshing together. We were just able to cover, every part of it in year one and kind of keep it rolling.
What were some of the things that you learned as the grad assistant to then help you to make that jump to become the assistant coach?
Yeah, I learned, I think, to just be maybe a little bit more confident and kind of get a coaching voice. And I think there was a lot of stuff, again, that I knew because Stetson gave me such a great experience into video and just the day-to-day meat of running a program. But I think it was how do we be a little bit more vocal about it and just helping. And so I think that's what that GA and first year as a part-time assistant gave me.
What was that experience like first being that assistant coach, and what were some of your accomplishments as the assistant coach?
Yeah, it was again, it's just been two of us on the staff here, so there's kind of a lot of stuff that we have to cover and just, scouts and recruiting and um, practice and day-to-day and equipment and just managing stuff um, that go into a program. But I think I've got a couple honors and kind of awards since I've been here, and those have been really, really great. But I think just the experience as a whole and the things I've learned, that's been the most rewarding thing.
What was that feeling like this year getting to get promoted to become the associate head coach?
Yeah, it's been a super cool. It's just a title really, but it's been a super cool one to get to have, and I think what it means maybe to the outside, it looks like it's a whole lot more than it is. It really doesn't change anything that we do day to day, but it is really cool just when you're in a place that you feel like keeps wanting you to strive and be better and give you those opportunities. It's a really special place to be.
For you as a coach, what was that feeling like getting to step onto that court for UPikeville and getting to coach for them?
Yeah, it was super exciting because it was my first time on the sideline really in that role with that title, right? You're as the ops director and you have those kind of things, but to be there as a coach, um, it's super special because it's a title I don't take lightly, so it's really great, and getting to do it here was special. Because it's just a small town feel, and Pikeville loves its basketball and its sports, and so it's been really great.
What does a typical game day look like for you as a coach?
Yeah, depending on where we're at, if we're traveling or on the road or at home, it looks a little bit different, but for the most part, we're taking care of meals for that day, getting them ready, pregame meals, and going over any kind of last minute film review or scout review with the whole team or with certain players. They're going through treatment and getting ready for the game in that way, and that's just player specific. And then we kind of hit that 90 minutes, and we're all at the gym and we're all getting ready and going through the pregame routine before we tip it off. But it is pretty. We're not superstitious or anything, but it is a pretty regiment routine and how we go about things, whether we're on the road or at home.
Can you talk about, of course, the culture that you've helped to build for the U Pikeville women's basketball program?
Yeah, I think, if you had to put one word to it here, it's really been about opportunity. I think we've, given all players that have come in and have chosen to play here an opportunity to compete for those um, minutes and those experience. Also, just the opportunity for us. I think have been playing in a really tough league in the Mid South, and so it's been about having the opportunities to compete against really really good teams, and that's obviously exciting. And I think that makes what we do really fun when you're challenged, and I think that's been part of the culture here is just opportunity.
Who are some of the teams that are in your conference in the Mid South that you play each week?
Yeah, so we've been in the Mid South, and then those teams have been Campbellsville University, Georgetown College, University of the Cumberlands, Cumberland University in Tennessee. Um, Now we're transitioning over this year, starting in 2023, 2024, the Appalachian Athletic Conference. So we'll be moving to that conference, which includes Bryan and Reinhardt, um, Kentucky Christian and Union College, Milligan, and those guys. So we're really excited about kind of a new change of pace and new challenges and new opportunities that a new conference offers.
Of course, what does that typical home game look like when some of those big teams come to your home?
Yeah, we try to keep the routines, the same for everybody, but obviously we've built some strength of schedules the last few years, being maybe top 20 in the last 2 years in strength of schedules, and you kind of rise up. I think our players have almost always risen to the occasion in those instances. It's been easier for them to get up and get ready on game days when they know somebody is big coming in, and so Thomas More obviously has been in there, and um, we got to beat them this year. They're at the time #1 team in the NAI in our home gym on senior day, which was a super just fun experience in the atmosphere, and those games are obviously really exciting. But I think our team gets up for everybody, and again, just going along with that opportunity mindset, in that we can compete for anything here.
What does that home game atmosphere look like in your arena?
Yeah, so we actually play like two different home courts. So we play in the Appalachian Wireless Arena and in campus gym, the UPike gym. So we have two different home courts, and I think they give different atmospheres. The arena is obviously, it's 1,000-seat arenas, and it has a different kind of feel. It's I think super unique to NAI in that, and that's obviously really fun. It's where our actual locker room is and our actual office is, so it's always feels good to be here. But the UPike gym is special. There's a lot of history and tradition in that gym, and so it's a little bit small. It's obviously a lot smaller, and everybody's right on top of you. So, you get a couple hundred fans in there, and it gets to be a lot of fun. We've had a lot of big games in both gyms, but I think some of the most memorable ones have definitely been in that UPike gym.
Of course, what is that like getting to coach in the UPike gym versus coaching in your arena?
Yeah, I don't think they hear me in either one very well, because your voice kind of echoes in the arena, right? And it's loud in the UPike gym. Um, but again, I think it's just two different feels. But I think that maybe makes it unique to what we do, that you can play in two different places that really feel like home court, and so that's super super special. I think they're both great, and I have, again, lots of memorable wins in both places, and so yeah.
What does that recruitment process look like for those prospective student athletes looking to play college women's basketball?
Yeah, we're really recruiting, really focused on 2 years out at a time. And so, depending on the time of the year, we're bringing folks on campus. And we obviously like to do it when students are here. So fall and spring are really, really big. Some in the summer when it just doesn't work out. Um, but we like to bring them on. We like them to, visit campus and visit Pikeville when there's, full student body around. Um, Admissions gives a great tour of upper campus, and keeping them updated on just changes on campus, and the class sizes and numbers and all the good stuff that's going on academically. Then they'll meet with our coaching staff and meet with our players, and if the timing allows, we like them to either come to a practice and watch it, or come to a workout, or come to a game, or even play pickup with our team depending on the time of the year. But we go out and see prospective student athletes as much as we can, with their high school teams and with their AAU programs. And then we want them on campus as much as they can, either watching games, or visiting campus, or being at camps. Just a great opportunity for them to kind of see us in different environments, but also for us to watch them and evaluate them in different places.
As a coach, what is it like obviously going out on the road and recruiting those players? And what do you look at when out on the road recruiting
Yeah, getting to go out on the road is super fun. In the season, we try to catch some high school games when they're kind of in the area when we're on the road. The high school season usually lines up pretty well with ours, so that's can be challenging. But again, you like to see players with some different in different environments. And I think with their high school team and their travel ball team are really two different environments. And so we try to catch both. But this time of the year in July, you're on the road and you're watching, travel ball teams. And, you see kids and you see them play a lot of games and a lot of days. So, you got to evaluate. And I think you're looking at a lot of different things, but I think mostly it's their response. I think by the time we're sitting on the sideline for somebody, we know that they're talented enough to play here, that they have enough skill, but we want to look at their response to kind of those different situations and, what their character is as they respond to just challenges, but also opportunities.
For those prospective student athletes, what does that official visit look like at UPikeville?
Yeah, the official visits and coming here. Um, Again, we've had players take a bunch of visits and come a lot, and we definitely embrace that. They're welcome as much as as much as they want, just so they can see and kind of get the whole picture of what it's like here. But yeah, they'll go through admissions and kind of do a visit, and the application process is free, so they can kind of get the an idea of all that stuff, and then when we're getting down to meeting with the staff and actually offering a potential student athlete, obviously a lot of factors go into that, but we try to make the best offer that we can for student athletes as we put together a roster every year, and that changes year to year based on who we're graduating and who we're returning, and what each class looks like, and then what we're trying to kind of shape that team the next year to be.
As a coach, what is it like seeing those freshmen get to put on that orange and black UPikeville jersey?
Yeah, freshman year are exciting years because I think it's their first time just being away from home and living away from home and kind of going through that. And we've had players that are pretty local, and we've had players that are from super far away. And so I think it looks different for everybody, but it's really exciting to kind of see them go through that first year and get through a lot of challenging times, but get to the end of it and feel some rewarding, some reward. But we've had a couple freshman player of the years here. We give them plenty of opportunity to get minutes, and again, I think it just gets back to opportunity, and freshmen have opportunities here.
What is that like as a coach, seeing those freshmen blossom into seniors and getting to be seniors and putting that jersey on for the last time for UPikeville?
Yeah, I think if I go back to question one and say, oh, how'd you know you want to do this, or why'd you want to do that? It'd probably be that. It's the process. We get mostly 4-year kids, so kids that are with us from that recruitment process, which starts in their juniors for, freshman, sophomore, junior, senior years of high school, and then seeing them through their senior year of college. And it's really exciting to see that, to see growth and to get to reflect on it. But also, the stuff that comes after that, getting to see them leave and go experience just life and, build that for themselves. It's really, really rewarding.
Of course, as an assistant coach, what is it like seeing those players that are seniors going on after the program and going on to the world to do great things, or even going into professional basketball?
Yeah, the senior years are, we're trying to always, to prepare them for that moment and kind of what it will look like, what they want it to look like when they're done. But here we get a lot of folks that go on to professional schools, so med schools, optometry school, dentistry school, nursing. And so they leave here and they start really just fabulous careers and lives, and they're doing really amazing things. And our hope is that we've given them, again, the opportunity to have a really great undergrad experience, leave debt free, and kind of go off and strive for those big things that they want to do.
Of course, as a coach, what is that like on game day when you do get that win?
Yeah, it's obviously it's super hard. I think winning is hard, and so when you have a tough schedule and you play in a tough conference and you do all those things, and but even if you're just going through game to game, it's just hard to win and to stay on top of it. So when you get to do that and you get to go on like runs throughout a season, or you even go through the highs and the lows of it, it's super exciting, and it keeps you kind of going and keeps you striving when you get, even if you get close once and you don't get it, but you just keep working for it, and it's really really just a part of the journey and the process of a season.
What are some of your future plans for the UPikeville women's basketball program?
Yeah, I think the future of this program is championships. I really do think it's a championship caliber program, and I think it's in that direction, and where it's maintaining consistent competitiveness um, is really exciting to see, and I think you're just building on that. I think that's the next step, is just to maintain some of those habits and push it to a championship level program on the conference level and on a national level.
What advice would you give those incoming freshmen looking to be college women's basketball players?
Yeah, I think in year one for freshmen, or even those coming in, I think just embrace everything. I think just stay open. I think sometimes if you come in and you're locked on really high expectations, or not even high expectations, but just certain expectations, specific expectations, you can kind of have tunnel vision to the experience of it. I think you don't know what it is like until you're there. And so being able to stay open and just kind of experience each day as it comes in the season, as it flows, and just learn and grow from it, I think you'll get the most out of year one.
What advice would you give those seniors looking to go on and playing professional basketball, whether it's the WNBA, Athletes Unlimited, or going overseas?
Yeah, I think, I think anytime you're seeking something that's challenging, but you really, really want, I think you just have to embrace the struggle of it. I think there's going to be, sacrifices that come with it. But I think if you're really going after something you want, you have to really embrace those struggles. And so that's kind of what the advice I give them: take every opportunity and embrace the struggle.
What advice would you give those college basketball players looking to transition into being college coaches after their playing career?
Yeah, I think, again, I think there's so many different avenues, and everybody's coaching journey and story and getting into, college athletics is so different. And I think it's so cool that there's so many different ways you can get into it. A lot of different coaches come the high school route, or, travel ball route, or they, become GAs and after they graduate. And so, or they might coach high school for a few years and then become a GA. So I think there's just a ton of different ways. I think you just kind of need to find your avenue, what's your route to do it. And it might be getting a few years as a high school basketball, coach experience, and kind of going that way, or it might be, getting in as a GA and getting your master's and kind of working through it that way. So I think it's just finding your kind of your niche and your avenue to get into it. But again, it's staying open to, every opportunity and kind of embracing the ones you get, and not staying too locked into one thing.
What advice would you give those assistant coaches looking to start their coaching journey as a college assistant women's basketball coaches?
Yeah, I think being an assistant coach is a really great spot to be in. I think, your roles and responsibilities can really vary. I think, you look across different staffs, and they can look different everywhere. But I think it's such a great, position to be in relation to the team and the program and the university, but also just, with your staff and what you can do. And some of the best advice, I got in being an assistant coach was your job's to make everybody else's job easier. And so really striving to, um, take as much on as you can, from your head coach and from your players, even as much as you can help them. And obviously we're here to help them learn and grow and putting, certain challenges in front of them. But I think as much as you can, just learn new things and kind of get outside your comfort zone. I think it's easy to get locked into being um, kind of one thing and being, really strong at one thing. But I think if you stay open to other things, you might surprise yourself.
What advice would you give those people that are looking to coach at their alma mater like you have?
Yeah, I think I think it's challenging. I think you gotta be super intentional about doing that, and it has to be the right place and the right experience to do that. But it is super special to get to do that, and I think maybe even leave and go back. I think if you can, go get some coaching experience and then come back and get that opportunity, and you might not get that, but I think when you look at coaches that get to do that and how special it is to them when they get to come back to a place that kind of poured into them, and then when they get to kind of give back to it, it's super special.
That's great advice. Where can my listeners find you at on social media along with the UPikeville women's basketball program at?
Yeah, we're UPike WBB on Twitter and Instagram, I think, and UPike Women's Basketball on Facebook. Um, I'm Coach_Wheeler1 on Twitter. I think it's the same on Instagram as well.
Thank you again, Coach Shelby Wheeler, for your interview, and best luck in your future with the UPikeville women's basketball program as the associate head coach.
Thank you.
You can find Brandon Sports Talk on Instagram at Brandon Sports Talk, Twitter at Talk_Brandon, and you can find me on YouTube at Brandon Sports Talk. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again, Coach Wheeler.
You've been watching Brandon Sports Talk. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Brandon Sports Talk on social media and on YouTube.